Mary Chesnut's Civil War comprises the journals penned by an aristocratic Southern woman during and post the American Civil War. Initially published in 1981, this volume features a detailed introduction by historian C. Vann Woodward and annotations elucidating Chesnut's allusions to individuals and texts. Originally surfacing in 1905 as Diary from Dixie, a rendition of Chesnut's Civil War accounts was based on her revisions from the 1880s of journals dating back to the 1860s. Woodward's work brings forth her original wartime journals, supplemented when needed with materials from the 1880s revisions. The introduction, divided into 4 parts, addresses various versions of Chesnut's diary and Woodward's editorial problems and policies, alongside offering glimpses into Mary Chesnut's life and her heretical perspectives on slavery and women. Mary Chesnut, born in 1823 in South Carolina, hailed from a prominent family background. Her father, a former governor turned U.S. senator, and her maternal kin belonged to the affluent class of plantation owners. Mary, née Miller, received her education at the exclusive Madame Talvanda's French School for Ladies in Charleston, where affluent families entrusted their daughters with a robust education. Fluent in French and nurturing a fervor for literature and writing, Chesnut's upbringing was one of privilege and refinement. In 1833, her father retired from politics and acquired 3 plantations in Mississippi, along with a substantial number of slaves. Despite her preference for city life, Mary intermittently joined her family in Mississippi during school vacations. At 17, Mary Miller wed James Chesnut, Jr., a lawyer and scion of a plantation-owning family. James, who harbored political aspirations, served as South Carolina's senator until the state's secession from the Union in 1860. Though born into and married within the planter elite, Mary Chesnut openly opposed slavery, denouncing it as a monstrous system fostering hypocrisy. While she held deep affection for the South and its traditions, she viewed slavery as a stain on an otherwise dignified and praiseworthy culture. Her allegiance to the South led her to support secession from the North to establish an independent Confederacy. In addition to her unorthodox abolitionist views, Chesnut also harbored feminist sentiments, evident in her written critiques of patriarchy and its subjugation of women. With Abraham Lincoln's election in 1860 prompting South Carolina's secession and James Chesnut's resignation from the National Senate, Mary Chesnut commenced her journal. As fixtures in South Carolina's elite social and political spheres, the Chesnuts' early journal entries often revolve around social gatherings, marriages, and the latest gossip concerning prominent figures of the time. Chesnut frequently mentions Confederate generals and politicians she mingled with, such as General John Bell Hood and the prominent secessionist John S. Preston. Her journal vividly recounts her first-hand experience of the bombardment on Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor. Residing near her husband's barracks in a harborside hotel, Chesnut witnessed the escalating tensions between the North and the South. On April 11, 1861, James Chesnut was among the officers dispatched to demand the evacuation of Union troops from Fort Sumter. Despite the Union officers' refusal, Southern forces seized control of the fort, with James Chesnut surviving the ordeal. Following this military triumph, Southern confidence soared, with many believing in a swift victory over the North. Chesnut's entries reflect this optimism, with Charleston bustling with soldiers and excitement palpable in the air. After Confederate triumph at the Battle of Bull Run, Chesnut found herself in Richmond, Virginia, where she reveled in the jubilant atmosphere. Despite her husband's appointment as an aide to Confederate President Jefferson Davis, Chesnut didn't shy away from acknowledging the political disarray within the Confederacy. Observing the rampant intrigue and internal discord within Davis's cabinet, she foresaw the potential self-destruction of the Confederate government due to such conflicts. Indeed, Chesnut's apprehensions regarding the South's fate were not unwarranted. The Union Navy's blockade of major Southern ports marked the beginning of the erosion of Chesnut's aristocratic lifestyle. Luxury imports dwindled, prices soared, and high society women like Chesnut had to adjust to the absence of the latest fashion trends. In a tone tinged with despair, Chesnut lamented the loss of New Orleans in 1862, questioning, "New Orleans gone, and with it the Confederacy? As the Confederate military faced successive defeats against the North, Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, 1863, further altered the landscape. Despite her belief in white superiority, Chesnut abhorred slavery, finding some solace in the proclamation as a potential harbinger of Southern defeat. The surviving excerpts from Chesnut's original journals indicate a decrease in her writing frequency from 1863 to 1864, attributed to her volunteer work in hospitals tending to wounded soldiers, as noted by Woodward. Additionally, the upheaval of wartime conditions contributed to the decline in her journal entries. As the fabric of her world unraveled, scarcity of food and clothing, coupled with the collapse of Confederate currency, plagued Chesnut's existence. The fall of Atlanta to General Sherman in late 1864 dashed Southern aspirations further. Learning of the devastation wrought by Sherman's forces, Chesnut penned, "They say no living thing is found in Sherman's track, only chimneys and telegraph poles." With the Confederacy's surrender in 1865, Chesnut ceased journaling. Thanks to her privileged status in the social and political echelons of the Confederacy, Mary Chesnut meticulously chronicled the demise of the old Southern order. Mary Chesnut's Civil War stands as the authoritative compilation of her writings, earning Woodward the 1982 Pulitzer Prize for History. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.